And someone who is on the call for Patriots-Jets on Sunday is our Charles Davis. So, Charles, we want to get right to it. The Jets, they have been on a roll. They're now on a 4-game win streak. So do you think they continue with this momentum with the Patriots, or is it time for a letdown?
I don't see a letdown at all in terms of this, Jacqueline, because you're talking about a Jets team that is young, growing, gaining in confidence. I thought their win at Denver this past week was one of the gutsiest wins of the year because they actually went into it as the team that was favored. You know, they're learning how to handle the mantle of being the hunted as opposed to being the hunter. And they had some really key injuries in that game, a tight defensive affair. They hung on, and the Jets defense battled the Broncos defense, which is one of the best in the league, and came out on the positive side. I just don't see a letdown, mainly because you're right back into your division. And if your goal is to get to the playoffs, no faster way than to win your division. And there's signs in the Jets facility that say own the East. The only way you can own the East is to beat the teams you play in the East. And that's New England coming up.
And Charles, you mentioned the injuries. So let's talk about those injuries that New York is dealing with. We have Vera Tucker that is out for the season, along with, of course, Breece Hall tore his ACL. Now the Jets, a day later, they get running back James Robinson via trade from the Jags. Now, does he make an impact for Sunday's game? Do you think he needs some time to adjust? Are they going to have any setbacks, or is Robinson going to kind of keep them where they are?
I think that the first two things you talked about are where I'm looking and what I'm expecting on Sunday. One, I think he will play on Sunday. Christian McCaffrey got traded. He played immediately. I don't think they'll be holding him back. Remember, James Robinson didn't get a carry the week before. There was something in the works already with Jacksonville having him on the market and Travis Etienne emerging as their number one guy. So they didn't even play him. So he'll be fresh and he'll be eager. And I think the Jets will try and get him ready to go. How much remains to be seen. Will he have an impact? Well, if it's not Sunday, he will down the road. Because if you take Breece Hall, who was having an extraordinary rookie season, and James Robinson and match them up, body type, size, speed, all of those things, not to mention college production, and then on to the NFL, James Robinson more of a surprise because he was an FCS player, football championship subdivision, which I'm still getting used to. To me, it's still 1AA. But he came a level below where you normally get your NFL players. Didn't slow him down at all. You know, big rookie year, 1,000 yards, the whole deal, coming back off of injury. Now you throw him into the Jets mix. Michael Carter and Breece Hall, they were the duo. James Robinson will eventually take Breece Hall's spot. Let's see if the production matches. But I think the potential is definitely there, which is why the Jets made this move.
And we want to talk about the quarterback situation in New England. So back to Monday Night Football, the Patriots, they're starting Mac Jones. Jones is replaced by Bailey Zappi. That's not without the entire stadium, cheering Zappi during the game. He leads a quick touchdown drive shortly after and then puts up no points in the second half. So moving forward, who is the starter for the Patriots? Obviously, Belichick, he's been a little hush-hush about it, kind of mysterious in his press conferences. But what do you think they should do moving forward at the QB position?
Well, I think that as we move forward, obviously, if we were in that press conference with Coach Belichick, we would get some version of the game just ended. Don't ask me about it now. I'll let you know when I get good and ready. Or if we get lucky, we're on to New Jersey, right? Because we're going to play the Jets. He will let us know when he gets good and ready. But my opinion on the whole thing is this. Mac Jones went from the lowest of lows yesterday when he got pulled and Bailey Zappi led that touchdown drive. And as you noted, the stadium exploded. He couldn't help but note the Zappi signs everywhere. He knows on social media now Bailey Zappi was on the bench singing the lyrics to Stacy's mom and enjoying the moment. But when the thing was, when it was all said and done at the end of the ball game, everything had kind of come back, not quite full circle, but pretty close. What you learn in the NFL is there are no quick fixes. It has to be sustained. Bailey Zappi mania took hold in that stadium. By the end of the night, the same people who were cheering for Bailey Zappi were wondering, I wonder if Mac's going to be ready to go next week. That's what we will have this week. My instincts tell me that Mac Jones gets the ball again on Sunday against the Jets. Came back off the ankle injury, showed his mobility, showed he can move around, also showed the rust that we expected. Now he gets another full week of practice. They drafted him for a reason in the first round 2 years ago. I don't think they're ready to give up on Mac Jones yet. And Bailey Zappi did not take the ball and go home with it in this last ball game, Jacqueline. He put the ball back in play for Mac Jones. I'm sensing that Mac Jones will be the starter come Sunday.
Patriots-Jets. That is 1 Eastern on CBS. And Charles, you're going to be on the call for that. Now switching over to Bills-Packers. We got the 4-time MVP versus the MVP fave. Bills coming off a bye week. They're sitting atop the AFC East, like we mentioned. And at last check, they're 11.5-point favorites. Charles, it seems like an easy win for the Bills here.
It does seem that way, right? But anyone who thinks that, we all know football. I remember when the Patriots wanted to play the Packers and Brian Hoyer was starting, and then he got hurt early in the game. Bailey Zappi came in. No one even knew who his name was. Everybody expected the Packers to roll. They went to overtime and pulled it out, and that one did the Packers. They had to go all the way to the limit on it. This is just how this NFL operates. How many people thought last night that Chicago would come in and roll the New England Patriots? I don't see an easy win, but there should be one for Buffalo. Josh Allen is the guy right now, and you know he's relishing the opportunity to take on Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. They don't play head-to-head. We know that. They all talk the same language. But you think for a moment that Josh Allen is sitting at home licking his chops and say, I know you've been the guy. I would like to be you. I'd like to be in your spot, and my team is the better team. Let me show you this on national TV on Monday Night Football. So I think the Bills should be the favorite in it. I think it's a Packers team, though, that will show its grit and show its fight, because at 3-4, this is really unfamiliar territory for the Green Bay crew.
Yeah, and also just talking about Aaron Rodgers on the absolute struggle bus, especially on offense. It's actually the first time Rodgers in his career, including playoffs, that he's a double-digit underdog. So what do you think for the Packers? What do they have to do specifically to fix things before they just continue on that downward spiral?
Yeah, and real quick before I get to that, can I commend my colleagues Jim Nantz and Ian Eagle? Jim Nantz on his great years working the Final Four. No one's going to do it better. But my partner, Ian Eagle, going to get his opportunity. He will do it equally as well. I'm so happy for both of them. Just commend them both. Now, back to what we were talking about. These Packers struggle on the offensive line. David Bakhtiari hasn't been the same left tackle because he's come back from the knee injury. So there's been a struggle there. Trying to decide how much they want to run the football versus throw it. And now you're throwing it to some uncertain receivers. Aaron Rodgers trying to bring along a young crew who's growing and learning, but still not quite there yet. And a defense that they expected to be top 5 in the season. Right now, they're somewhere around 20. And in the second half of games, Jacqueline, they're giving up a heck of a lot of points. I think they're like third worst in how many points you give up in the second half. So when you put it all together, isn't exactly what we thought with Green Bay. But Aaron Rodgers is right. We won't bring back RELAX. But he is right that they have an opportunity to get the ship right if they stay the course, if they stay tight together, they continue to grow. I think Monday night's going to be a heck of a tester. I think for Green Bay, the growth really starts that night in a good effort, but the record should be 3-5 when they start their climb to try and get back towards it. But I'm definitely not counting them out. We've seen them come back before. They can do it again. But the bottom line with them is play better on the defensive side of the ball, and see if they can get a little more cohesive offensively, offensive line, and especially these young receivers starting to grow.
And that is Charles Davis, who will be on the call for the Pats-Jets on Sunday. That is 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Thank you, Charles. And getting a look at some other games that are on CBS. We have the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Saints also. We have Dolphins versus the Lions. Miami coming off that win over Pitt in Sunday Night Football. And then we also have Pitt taking on the undefeated Eagles there. They're coming off of a bye. And then also Texans and the Titans in the 4:05 slate.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.